Right, welcome everybody to another episode of Chris and Dave's Reality TV Cast. I'm one of your hosts, Chris, and my co-host and very good friend is Dave.
Hey there, Chris, and hello to our listeners out there. Welcome to Chris and Dave's Reality TV Cast. We are covering Married at First Sight Australia, Season 12, Episodes 5 through to 8. Now, Chris, where would you like to start today?
Well, Dave, I was actually, as you were doing the intro, and I don't know what the podcast was you were introducing, but I like it. I like the sound of it. Married at First Sight. So, yeah, it could be an offshoot for us. I think...
Married at First Shite.
Shite, yeah. I think the whole week was dominated around the dinner party, wasn't it? So we did get the dinner party. It was sort of like the backlash of the first week, which our good friend Tim just carried on being a complete fucking bell end of the week. And I don't think I'm going to give the award to anyone else, Dave, if I'm being honest. Absolute clown, that guy. And just awful gaslighting, just not aware, doesn't care either, does he? He's really not bothered at all that he's hurting Katie. There's things he's saying. And he's that good at his job at being a complete prick, Dave. He even got her to apologise, which I was screaming at the telly going, what are you doing? I mean, the experts again, I'm going to call them out in a minute. But yeah, just that whole dinner party was horrible. And I know Katie had Jamie backing her up, you know, quite rightly. But he just was literally bat thinking everything, wasn't he? The fucking elbows were coming out. He was batting any question at him, wasn't he? It was so obvious what he was doing. I was like, what is going on? The guy is just horrible and he's an absolute knobhead.
So, I obviously the dinner party, we always say it's the best bit of the week, isn't it? You know, yes. Everything that happens before, you just get some little tidbits here and there, but everything comes to fruition at the dinner party. I fucking love them, Chris. Absolutely love them. And so this one didn't let down. I think they will get worse as the season goes on, but this one had plenty of drama just to kick off the season. But yeah, if we stick on kind of Tim, I mean, I always say, you know, the job that you do, you tend to gravitate towards whatever that is, because we can all make money doing lots of different things, but you tend to gravitate towards that job that you're doing because of some kind of, you know, innately you're good at this thing. Either you're interested or it's convenient with your lifestyle or whatever. There's usually some reason for it. I cannot see a single reason why this guy would be a teacher. He is absolutely uncaring and unempathetic to everyone around him. You mentioned about the gaslighting, just trying to bullshit everyone around and deflect, you know, and he walks in there, Chris, into the dinner party in his white suit, like he's fucking, and he's got all the tattoos and everything. I'm like, does this guy think he's David Beckham or something? He's got news for you, mate. You're really not. You are really not. What do you think of the whole setup? I mean, he sort of thinks he's something special, doesn't he?
Yeah, and I don't get it. I mean, I know we'd said in the chat last week that one of the ladies has said he's done this to about 40 different ladies where he lives, but he's got old pictures up. You know, the old classic of like, you know, false advertising. I think maybe at some point he was in shape, and I think he's using that picture. I'm with you, Dave. I think he's saying David Beckham, like fucking David Brent, and he's just completely our hero, David Brent, but he's just completely delusional. Like Katie, as a couple, she's the better looking person in that relationship, isn't she? But she's absolutely out of any confidence. He's just broke her down. He's making her apologize for stuff she's not even done. She's second guessing herself. Classic manipulation tactics. And I just couldn't get over and then I think it was one of the ladies sat next to him, one of the girls sat next to him, and you could see he's like peacock straight away to say, how you doing? You know, the old Joey. And I'm like, mate, you've got no chance. You are a horrible person. I think was it Rhys and Jeff? I think it was, or Sierra. It was one of the girls with the brown hair in it. And he really as you say, Katie's nothing. And honestly, his whole interaction with everybody, and I know the experts are watching and they were like, oh, this is terrible. But he's just getting worse and worse, isn't he? Like, I can't explain what an absolute bellend he is. We've all seen what a bellend he is watching it, and I think he's just got to go, hasn't he? They both got to go together. She's not going to find anyone. The only way they can do it is to kick him off. It's not going to happen. And unfortunately, the producers are just going to break Katie down for as long as she's in the show, I think, because he's not going anywhere, this Tim. He's just there for whatever morsel of fame he thinks he's going to get. But it's all bad fame at the moment for me.
Yeah, I mean, I can't imagine. I can't imagine good things are going to happen after this series. You know, he's coming across so horribly, and yeah, I think unfortunately Katie's just going to be collateral damage for the producers, isn't she? Because it's like, oh, this is fucking great. You know, Tim's making himself look like a right douchebag here. This is great TV. Yeah, I don't think they'll kick him off at all, and it'll just carry on. But again, I just find, does he actually believe when he's saying about, oh, he's the one doing all the trying?
I couldn't believe that.
Does he believe that? Or is he genuinely like deluding himself? Or is he just thinking, oh, I've got to come up with something. So, you know, I've got to make out like, you know, actually it was Katie. And this is the interesting thing about human behavior, isn't it? Because we've got the benefit of seeing what these interactions were. You know, him sat there with his fucking cap on backwards, his ripped jeans, and his ridiculous fucking persona, just, you know, slobbing on the bed like, yeah, not interested. He comes across like fucking Kevin the teenager, doesn't he? I just, we could see all that, but in everyday life, you wouldn't be able to see that. So if you were just at a dinner party and like there was some marital troubles or whatever, you know, you'd almost come away from there because Katie had accepted responsibility by the end. She was just like, oh, maybe I'm just really bad at relationships. And we're like, no, don't take that message away. But, you know, in everyday life, probably this is the problem with narcissists, though, isn't it? Because that's how they navigate life. You know, and unfortunately, people, you know, on the receiving end are the ones who end up taking the responsibility. So, yeah, I don't know, Chris. I, you know, of course, I love watching all of this nonsense, but yeah, he should be ejected, but no doubt he won't.
I don't think he's going to be ejected. I agree. He should be. In reality, Dave, in proper reality, not reality TV, as we're talking about, he definitely should be gone. And you're right. Like the fact that he said in front of her, in front of everyone, but she didn't. I don't know whether she didn't feel she was strong enough to tackle him when he said exactly what he said. Like, you know, I'm doing all the work here. I'm like, are you taking the fucking piss here? The producer's just paying you extra money to just be a complete dick. Because, and she went, I beg your pardon. And she never pulled him up on it, did she? She never like followed it up with anything. And I was like, I don't understand this. Why are you not saying in front of everyone, this is what he's done? Is he that much of a manipulator or someone she doesn't feel she can challenge? That she was just accepting it. And it seemed, everyone could see through it. Everyone could. When Dave and that was talking to Dave and Jamie, and he was saying like, "Why are you deflecting?" And he just kept saying, "Oh yeah. So how are you guys doing?" No, I'm asking you. No. And then it was later on. I think it was Riss and Jeff come on, and she was talking to him, and again deflecting. And I'm just like, there's something fucking going on here. Like really strange guy. And then eventually, Dave got the old, "Oh, I've had enough of this. I'm off." And I'm like, yeah, because you're getting sussed out for being an absolute liar and a nasty piece of work. So again, we've not had the proper commitment ceremony. We'll get that like tomorrow, but the experts have got to throw this guy out. They're not going to, Dave. We say this every time with these people who are despicable, and they're here every week so we can throw tomatoes at them. But it's sort of not even being a pantomime villain. This is just being a nasty fucking knobhead narcissist who's not aware, or maybe he is, but just doesn't want to admit it. His own actions, it's everyone else's fault. So I don't get it at all. I mean, I did see the old guy sort of defend him. Tony was sort of defending him at one point. What are you going, oh, yeah.
Oh, that much older than us.
Well, yeah, he is older than us both, though, Dave. So let's just
we need to talk about some of the comments in their wedding, by the way.
Fucking hell. Unbelievable.
Yeah.
But, yeah, let's talk about that. But yeah, it was just bizarre, like the whole interaction, and nothing got resolved. And the experts again, I'm like, you've got John. Don't let me down. Don't fucking let me down. I need you to go for this guy. And I don't think we're going to get it, Dave. We might have a little go at him, but I think we're going to get, yeah, we'll give it another go. I think she might say she's leaving and he'll say that he's staying. And then it'll be the same old merry-go-round until they have to step in and go, we don't usually do this, but about week 4, you're out, basically. We can't let this carry on. Because that's the way I can see it going, like what happened in the UK series last time.
Well, you mentioned about John there, and it's almost as if this was scripted, which of course it never
It's not.
is. But John, I think he started off strong in this season because Elliot was trying to make his case that, you know, he'd been matched up with the wrong person or whatever, and John was giving it back. He was saying, "This is why you're 35 and single." Yeah. And so, you know, this is a pattern for you. And I was like, go on, John. And so I don't know what Elliot was thinking he would get out of that conversation with him, but it seems that, you know, not very much. And I was a bit confused because obviously Elliot had gone. I guess Lauren has to stick around for the first dinner party, but, you know, it seemed a bit off because she knew she probably knew she was going to be turning up there on her own. But I guess that's them out then, isn't it?
Yeah, I think so. I did think I'm with you. I mean, they had to do the whole, you know, where is she thing. So whether she's going to be at the commitment ceremony, I don't know. But it did feel as if Elliot's about to just kick the door in or something, and arrive, and he didn't. So she technically she is out of the show at this point. So let's see. I mean, sometimes when one of the contestants has gone like this, we know we get the reprieve, don't we? We get the comeback trail. If anyone's going to get with someone else, it'd be Lauren, wouldn't it? As like one of the, what do they call them, intruder couples or whatever they are, you know, in a few weeks.
I'm wondering, actually, would it be that she gets a pass until the commitment ceremony? I wonder, because that would be tomorrow, won't it? Yeah, that'll be Monday's episode. So I guess that's normally how they exit the show, isn't it? So I guess, yeah, dinner party, then commitment ceremony, and then she'll probably go. But she could always say, I want to stay. It's quite nice here. I like the buffet. The hotel's lovely.
Yeah.
Why am I giving this up?
It's better than my own life. I get it. I do understand it. But what about thinking of Dave? So what about Awida and Adrian? I said last week he's giving me footboy vibes. What a bell and he's been this week. Bizarre.
One thing I did notice this week is obviously it's spelled Awina, as you've just said it, but when they say it on the show, they call her Athena, which makes
That's what I meant, Dave. That makes more sense. But yeah, I'm just thinking the literal saying for it. But yeah, Athena, Dave, very, very Shakespearean, but her as well, Dave. So what did you think of this week?
Or Greek, you know.
Yeah. No, yeah, true, because she is Greek. Yeah, but anyway.
So I don't know. Adrian, I don't like at all. I think he's another narcissist, isn't he? But they definitely have a sexual chemistry, but he's definitely got some things in the closet there. There's some skeletons, I am sure, because now he will argue, oh, you know, I've always said, if I have my own kids, I'm not going to love them as much as your kid. He's said that from day one. But he said that within the context that they didn't know each other. So I'm kind of on Athena's side that, you know, they've got to know each other a bit better. And I think you can reasonably expect that he might open up a little bit to the idea that, you know, if he really loves her, you know, can he go into the kid's life or whatever? But yeah, he just seems to be uncompromising, doesn't he? But I'd love to know what this thing is, because again, it's a theme with this season, isn't it? Where you're seeing the conversations with the producers. The producers are almost getting in front of the camera, but we can hear their voices, you know, and they do this whole thing. Like I think Athena had said that she cheated when she was a lot younger, but it was like a different life. And Adrian's giving her a really hard time about it. And then the producer's like, oh, so you never cheated then? It's like, no, never cheated. All right, I've seen your application. Oh.
Yeah.
And then he starts doing this word soup about, oh, well, it's sort of, when you're splitting up and getting with someone, it's all a bit grey, and so. But no, not when it's boyfriend and girlfriend. We're into Love Island territory here, by the way, Chris. It's like, it's unless it is officially ordained that you are boyfriend and girlfriend, then cheating is okay, and it's not really cheating.
Never cheating on these reality shows, Dave, especially when one of them's trying to win an argument, and then it's like the hypocrisy just goes to a different level, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I'm with you. He's got stuff going on there in the back pocket that is so obvious. And even when she was dead, she was being an adult about it, going, look, I'm not messing about. She was in the kitchen like folding clothes. And he's like looking over to her like he's about 12 or something, like he'd been asked to tidy his room up and his mum had come in and was like picking his clothes up. He was like, you could see there was like a level of disdain towards her. He was really like arsey and childish. And I'm like, does you like your parents just do everything for you? Is this like one of these things? You're a twin. Are you like the baby of the twins and your brother's the one who's actually an adult? Because, I mean, obviously he's going on this show. So you straight away, whoever goes on these shows, you're thinking, well, there's a reason you're on it. It's the fame. It's not for love or anything. We say it all the time. If you're going to find love, I don't think you're going to find it on a fucking reality show where you meet somebody for the first time and pretend get married. It's never the correct route. It does work for some, but for these two, and it's not her fault. A son's like the most important person in her life. I don't think Adrian wants that. I think if they were together, he'd be the sort of person who'd try and make her choose, and you would never choose a son over anybody. It's like a jealousy thing. I've seen it so many times with people I know, Dave. It's like a jealousy thing kicks in. It's like, well, you've got this person. Yeah, it's your fucking son. Her son will always come over anybody. And I think that's what it is, I think, at the moment. He wants her to give him a divided attention, and she's worried about her son, quite rightly. She's away from him. So, yeah, he's a bellend, Dave. He's still not bellend of the week, but he was close this week.
No, I think he's going to be in the running in future weeks, though. I feel like he's got it in him to be bell end of the week at one point, but he can but aspire to be that. I think.
What a career move!
I just hope Athena kind of sees it. At the minute, she seems to be a bit blind to it. She'll get annoyed in that moment, but then get over it pretty quickly. And I don't think he'll move on that. And I don't think, even if it wasn't the kid thing, I think it'd be something else. There's just a nasty kind of edge to him.
Yeah. And that's come this week, really. I know I said there was a bit of a vibe last week, but that has been this week wholeheartedly. Every time I've seen him, it's like, oh, you're a fake nice guy. Yeah. It's unraveling. But anyway, Dave, I tell you, which was one of the best moments of the week and entertainment wise was we got Jackie and Ryan, and Jackie looked like high maintenance plus like $1 million. However, Ryan then decides to fucking literally clothesline her at the wedding reception, and then he's worried about what the nation is going to think of him. And it's like, well, no,
not him. He's not trying to stop the footage to be shown for him. It was all for her, in case she would be embarrassed, not for him and looking like a fucking klutz. No, not that, Chris. You must have missed that he was very clear it wasn't for him.
No, he was being a gentleman. I mean, his first VT thing was ridiculous. The 6-pack come out, he was going on, but then as Jackie went on, yeah, no, it's ridiculous, wasn't it? But then as the week went on, like Jackie, I like a man with a beard. My ex was like an Adonis. Well, these aren't the sort of things you really bring up if you're happy. Why would you say your ex is like an Adonis? All she was short of saying was, Dave, that he had a fucking 12-inch fucking dong as well. So, and Ryan, you don't measure up, mate. He shaved the beard. There was all sorts going on there. I mean, I know the whole, give me your coat thing, and he had to ask the producers, but she dug him out. But I did feel as if like it was a continuity thing for the show. I'm not defending him, but when he turned around and said, "Can I give him my coat?" I think obviously because they're so directed by like the producers and the show, he probably wanted to, and he couldn't. That's how I saw it. And I'm not defending him because he's an absolute bell end. But I think she was worse of the two as the week went on. She really looks like she's demanding Dave, and I just don't know what she wants in it. And the fact she was trying to wind him up and going, "Oh, I was just doing it," I'm like, why? Why do you want to upset him? What is going on? You want to upset him because you don't like him. You haven't all got the fucking order. You've ordered something from Amazon Prime and you've ended up with something from fucking AliExpress or fucking Shein or something. It's just ridiculous, isn't it? They're ridiculous, these people. I love it, but they're absolutely idiots, all of them.
I mean, these are undoubtedly my favourite couple because I think they're both bell ends. Yes. I slightly fall on the opposite side to you, though, because you were saying she was worse by the end of the week. I don't know. I feel like the thing about saying her ex-boyfriend was an Adonis, there was a big build-up to that. Now, there is a slight element of doubt, like you say, because they're so directed. Did they just set him up, essentially, to make him look a bit daft? Because she was clearly freezing, and Ryan's there. I mean, the reason I don't think I'm going to give him a pass is because he talks a fucking good game, doesn't he? He's like, oh yeah, I'm chivalrous, and you know, if a woman was stood here right now freezing, I'd definitely give her my coat. As he sits there, nice, snugly warm in his coat. And Jackie's freezing her tits off. So I just don't know. He just seems to lack any kind of self-awareness. Now, he does have a cracking body on him, doesn't he? He's obviously spends a lot of time in the gym and, you know, taking his vitamins and everything. But he's saying he does that because he was bullied a bit at school, and I kind of get that. But like his back and forth with his mates, he does come across like a bit of a frat boy, doesn't he? Just, you know, and the jokes are just really cringe-worthy. And so she definitely, she's discovered selling digital products. So she's the only one in the world, it seems, who's realized, I can make money when I'm asleep. All right, you've just invented entrepreneurship. Honestly, I felt like I was watching there. Do you remember when Gary Neville was saying, "Yeah, well, what I do sometimes is, you know,
no, don't say it, don't say it.
I'll get to Friday. I'll get to Friday, and then I'll have a mini retirement." And then I'll come back on Monday, and then I get to next Friday, and I'll have another mini retirement. And it's like, mate, it's called a weekend. You can't rename things mini retirements. Or was it the holiday? I can't remember, but it was like very, very strange. I still don't know what was going on in his head. He surely knows what a weekend is, but it was like that. But she's very, very proud of what she's done. But I mean, you're handy around the house, you know, with the housework and stuff. Chris, were you not going a bit bonkers when he was there, like with his feet on the fucking sofa and on the bed and stuff?
Probably more Sam than me, Dave, but yeah. But no, I would have been, 100%. I just think with someone like that, like you're saying, he was probably worse than her in your opinion, but I just felt she from the get-go was just being unreasonable, and he's just on another planet, and he's on a completely different fucking planet. Again, where is the fucking science, Dave? There's no science in this show. It's just ridiculous again. Two completely opposite people, and here we are now. You know, there's obviously, we can watch the show and we can look through these contestants already, and this is probably, other than the intruder couples, we're set now for the next couple of weeks. We could go through them and go, well, actually, that person should be better with that person. And that's, you understand what I mean? Like, it's purely for our entertainment, innit? There's no science. It's a load of bullshit. I mean, nothing more so, Dave. Let's be honest. Slightly moving a little bit. Fucking experts. Oh, my God. Have we ever had two couples get together before the show and they're now together? Well, I'll tell you what, John. Give it 10 minutes and there's another fucking couple who are in exactly this. And they're all three of them. At that point, I always try and give them a bit of credit. This, like, not being able to see how, like, people like Tim are acting to Katie in the flat. It pisses me off. It pisses me off with Paul in the last series. Mel did the same thing. They were defending bad behavior because they only saw the dinner party and then they see the commitment ceremony live, and that's all they've got to go off. That they're relying on snippets of conversations between the other contestants and all that. And again, it's like they were doing them fucking fake faces. Oh my God, I don't, but what are the chances? And I'm like, you literally look like all three of you have reshot that about 10 times just to make it look like it was genuine. I don't believe that they have not had heads up on that, Dave, at all. I'm not having it. It's absolute nonsense. And we've got two couples who have had a previous relationship, or a date or whatever, and they're together. And all I was waiting for John was to go, well, it shows how good we are, ladies. One of them. It was just, I don't know that. I give him a lot of credit on the Aussie one because, like, Alexandra, Mel, and John, they all, like, they will say stuff more than in the UK one. But at that point, I was like, nah, I'm not having it. I'm not fucking buying that they don't know these have been couples before.
I don't know why, but I just seem more sensitive now to the falseness of, like you say, the conversation. So when they're watching the dinner party, I mean, I don't know, Chris, are they even watching the dinner party, or are they just reading an auto cue?
A script, yeah.
There's a falseness to it. So you and I are having a two-way conversation, and sometimes, we'll cut across each other, or we'll give ourselves an and an and a to give ourselves a bit of thinking time. And I know it's edited on their side, but you know what it is? It's the tone, it's the cadence of the voice. It's like, oh well, I never thought I'd see this before.
Yeah, that was it.
It's the up and downiness of the tone. It's like, oh well, this is ridiculous. He is just gaslighting everyone, or something like that. It feels to me like, hey, bouncer, have you seen? What do you mean someone's trapped down a mine? It just feels like really fake and put on, as opposed to what we think we're seeing, which is experts commentating on what they're seeing at the dinner party. I'm trying to think of the practicalities of it. I guess it must be tough because we get to see all the edited stuff, and you've got all these couples, and they're followed around by this little entourage of producers and cameramen and soundmen and all that sort of stuff. So we get the benefit of the edited final product. But then, how would you get that to the experts? But I still think at the end of every day, you could have like 5 bullet points from each producer. Okay, what's happened? So I don't know. It's a creative choice that they're choosing to keep the experts in the dark until the dinner party. I mean, I don't think these experts look as silly, quite honestly, as like Paul say in the UK one. Where someone's behaving, terribly, and then it's like, oh yeah, well, it's a bit of one, bit of the other, bit of column A, bit of column B. So yeah, I think I don't know. Maybe they'll change that moving forward, because they are getting the producers to appear a little bit more on the screen, aren't they?
Yeah, and it is a new thing. You're right. This sort of like, oh right, yeah, I'm not happy with this. I ordered this, and we've seen it 3 times in the first week, pretty much, haven't we? Tim again as well. He goes off piste. He seems to think he's the main character. I'm with you. It's that voice thing. When John was saying it, it felt maybe the first time was actually correct, and they did film it, but they didn't capture it correctly, and then they've had to say we need to do it again. And you know what? You've absolutely blew my mind by thinking, are they even watching this? You know what I mean? I'm like, it fucking blew my mind now, because I'm gonna have to watch it now, like this week, and think, they fucking blagging it is. There's just nothing actually there, and it's just a script. I can't see it is, because I'd like to think they are watching that, but that has just absolutely got my fucking mind blown now. I'm thinking, oh, they're all in on it. They're even worse than what I thought, these people. It's just a fucking script. So you may have just ruined and fucking blown the maths bubble for me there, Dave, I think.
Yeah, in order to cut costs, they basically fly them in, and in 2 days, they record all the dinner parties.
The series. Yeah.
But I guess that wouldn't work, would it? Because they have to do the commitment ceremonies, so they must be seeing something.
Yeah, they must. I mean, obviously, it's not over 2 days, is it? It's literally within an hour of each other. They just change clothes and then they have the commitment ceremony. But for us, the audience, it's the next day, isn't it? So they play out as if it's the next day when we know it's not. It's a lot of nonsense, all that.
It is the next day, isn't it? The commitment ceremony. They quite often come in with a bit of a hangover. And I think they're filming way into the night with the dinner party, and alcohol is flowing. So there's no way you could just rock up to the commitment ceremony after that.
You could. Well, that might make it more entertaining, Dave. Maybe that's a suggestion. We might see some punch-ups then or something, might we? But, yeah, anyway. But yeah, you've got me thinking now that I'm going to be watching that like a fucking hawk now tomorrow when I watch that Thursday. Well, whenever, not the commitment, it'll be the end of the week, won't it? When we have another dinner party. I'm going to be like, oh, Dave's fucking right. I'm going to be like Chandler. I knew it. You know, you're going to be right, Dave. But anyway.
Make it even better if they were just mimes in front of them, miming what's happening with the dinner party.
Or the producers doing like, what does it give us a clue? Line up player. 2 words. Sounds like runt. What? Run? What's that? Run? What? You do? Yeah. Anyway, we don't use the see you next Tuesday word, Dave. So let's just move on. We'll just abbreviate it. But so going through the couple, Sierra and Billy, not a lot went on. They're still happy, aren't they? Billy was throwing a few little questions to Katie at the dinner party, but again, as a couple, pretty sound, aren't they? They seem pretty solid. We know that's going to fall apart because they've got to have some bit of jeopardy in the relationship. But at the moment, they're just cruising along, happy.
I mean, in terms of some of the toxic couples that we've got in here, they're definitely in the top half, aren't they? And I thought the thing that I remember from this week with Billy is just him opening up with all the confession stuff, opening up about how he feels rejected with his dad and how that's probably played into relationships that he's had and stuff. And so, yeah, I don't know. As much as positive as I can feel about a couple who are married at first sight, I feel quite positive about these two.
Yeah, I think so. I think you're right. They're just the best of a bad bunch at the moment, Dave. That's the thing. We haven't got a lot to pick on this at all. But what about
which?
So we said last week about Tim, and we mentioned it again being a teacher. So we've got Ashley and Jake, both teachers. Dave, is there something wrong with male teachers in Australia? Because Jake, at the end of the week, was giving off fucking horrendous vibes, wasn't he? Like when he had to pick the couples and who's the most attractive, and he's like, oh, what did he say? I wanted to stab someone in the eye or whatever he said. I'm like, and you're in charge of fucking children, mate. So I think this guy is fucking weird and creepy, and there's nothing wrong with being a little bit different and quirky in that, Dave, but I don't know whether sometimes you've just not, I know this myself, is don't always say what you're thinking. Don't always say. And I don't know if there's any coming back from that because Ashley was fucking absolutely distraught, wasn't she?
Yeah. I don't know. I think I'm going to give him a tiny pass, but the jury's out. I think he thought he was being funny with those comments. But the thing is, sometimes, like, and some people don't like silences as well. So when he says, you know, saying about who was it he was saying about? Was it Sienna who was saying she looks a bit like a psycho killer or something like that? and so Ashley was giving him nothing, and he just keeps going. He just keeps running with it. And so, yeah, I don't know. It's funny about he's saying about the teachers. I don't know. I think more rigorous vetting is required, I think. But yeah, I think I don't know. There's just enough doubt in my mind that he thought he was being funny, but it wasn't funny. But I don't think he was being particularly malicious about it, Chris.
No, but sometimes I say, don't fucking verbalize what you're thinking. If you want to, you know, I don't know, Dave. I don't know. That was a strange interaction. So he said before, Dave, Marina and Tony, the older couple, me and Marina seems to have a big problem with some of the young hunky guys not even speaking to her. She took it personal when she had to rate him, didn't she? She's like, I don't think they find me attractive. And it's like a little bit of like insecurity there, maybe a little bit of an ego bruised by that. But she really like dug out some of the guys, and you see Tony in the other room like, fuck me, what am I in for here? Now, I don't know whether it'll be, I don't necessarily trust him because he's giving off vibes of some of the other older guys. We've had that biker guy. We had, I don't think it was last season or the series before, the one with the glasses, Dave, the one who, oh God, he was pretty despicable to her. Not Tim and Lucinda,
no,
you know what I mean?
I know who you mean, yeah. From last season. He was
season,
a bit of a knob, wasn't he?
He was a knob. So, but
he was all that.
Yeah, and he was quite horrible to her. I get the vibe though, Dave, that Tony doesn't like Marina. And I think by the fucking dinner party, he was just like, oh my God. And I'm not saying that he may get worse, he may reveal himself, but I don't think there's anything there. And I don't know whether that's her fault or not. We haven't really seen enough of him. But there's just a couple of things there. Again, I'm like, it's just because of their age thing, they've put them together. It doesn't mean they're compatible. And I don't think these two are compatible at all.
No, I think it started off okay, and I did like their wedding, and they the way they sort of brought them together, and I think she's been in this loveless marriage for a long time, and then she's gone fucking full bore for it, hasn't she? She's out partying with the, being a DJ and stuff. It's like she's got all this like nearly 30 years of fucking frustration or whatever that she's trying to get out. I did like Tony. It reminds me of Tony Bennett, to be honest. But Tony, his mate was an absolute tool, right? And I was like, where did you get this fucking idiot? He was saying about how old she was. And fair play to Tony. He said, like, she's 57, I'm 54. I think it was 57 and 54, wasn't it? But it was not much in it at all. And his mate was saying, oh, yeah, but you're like really young and stuff. You deserve to be awarded a fucking 30-year-old or something. I'm like, awarded?
Awarded, Dave. Awarded.
It's not a fair ground game. Like, but also, I don't know, Chris. I don't think he looks like he'd go. He'd fit quite nicely with a 30-year-old either. So I just found it really, really bizarre that his mate, made himself look a prick on national TV or international TV.
International, Dave. Yeah, I don't get it. I think what terrible wording. Awarded, Dave. Like that is so bad, isn't it? Like,
but also,
the thing is,
he's a little bit older than him. But old fucking matey bollocks there is suggesting a way bigger age gap the other way, but that would be okay.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. And Marina looks younger than him. She keeps herself fit. She's a fitness instructor, isn't she? Spinning, personal training. She doesn't look 57, but like Tony does. I think Tony looks older than her, if I'm being honest, Dave. I mean, I can say that myself. I'm younger than Sam, but I look older than her these days. But there you go. That's the way it is. But
do you not recognise as well, though, Chris, before we move on to the other couples, I think in Tony, he has a bit of the old ADHD, maybe undiagnosed ADHD. As we obviously spoke about that quite a lot a couple of years ago, didn't we? And when she's going through quite a lot of detail in all of her thinking of, why she's going to rank people, higher than the other, you just see him with the Homer Simpson in his head. It goes up and he's thinking about something else. You say about them not getting on. I think, I'll be honest, she comes across a little bit judgy, and the way she was speaking about the blokes. Now, again, it's dinner party. No one knows anyone. Not everyone is all really outgoing and stuff. So I don't know that these are a great match. But, I mean, it seems to start off okay. But, yeah, I think some of those little differences in approaches to life, the energy is not really matched, I don't think.
No, I'm with you, Dave. And saying Dave, we've got Dave and Jamie. Pretty good together, body language, everything. I don't think these are going to go through this series without a bit of fucking drama, Dave. I don't think Jamie is going to stand any messing. Let's be honest.
No.
She looks like she's on the verge of like kicking off quite a lot, didn't she? She was right in sticking up for Katie and saying to everyone, "Am I fucking the only one hearing this?" I did like that about her because she's sticking up for a friend. But I think Dave is so laid back that at some point that's going to be their downfall in at least one of the weeks anyway. I think he's good. I think they're quite compatible and maybe they'll go through and live happily ever after, but it's maths. We've got to have something. I think his sort of passiveness and not fiery or anything, or we haven't seen him be fiery, that may be something with them two that she wants a bit more passion out of him maybe later on. I'm not sure, but it's just a guess, Dave. But at the moment, they are pretty solid. Again, as you said before, there's only a couple of couples, and these are, again, best of a bad bunch.
Yeah, I mean, they did seem to they seem to get on well together, don't they? But you're right. I wonder if, in the context of the group, if maybe she's going to be wanting to get involved in all of the drama. And she's going to call it out when she sees people misbehaving. And Dave just wants to sort of sit back and have a quiet life. I do know another Dave like that.
Dave is not bad in things thinking. I know a Chris who's like that, Dave, as well. That's unbelievable.
Obviously, the Daves don't have exclusivity to just leave me out of the drama, please. I can't be arsed with it. But I think she's going to be looking to get involved in it all.
I think I'm with you. So the last few, Dave, and it's not a lot. I mean, we talked about Tim and Katie before anyway, exhaust that bell end. But you've got Karina and Paul, Reese and Jeff. And the main thing that came out of them was the fake shots, like we said, with the experts. Because, again, these have been solid, haven't they? Karina and Paul, really affectionate together, chatting at the dinner party through some of the struggles they'd had. Really touchy-feely. It's Rhea and Jeff, again. They seem solid at the moment because I know people are going to be listening to this going, wait until you watch the next few weeks, you Bellens, Chris and Dave. But I think they've not brought anything to the fore where you're like, oh, there's something going on. The storyline, basically, at this point in time, the storyline hasn't begun for them to, I think, in maths.
Yeah, so I think I agree with Karina and Paul and Reese and Jeff. I just feel like everything that we've seen on the screen, they're getting on really well. The big question mark I've got is, well, why didn't it work before? I think if you're broadly compatible, and we've seen plenty of other couples who aren't, but if you're broadly compatible and you don't have to worry about your day job, you don't really have to worry about the outside world. You put up in a fucking great hotel. You've got a gym on premise. You've got, your meals taken care of and everything. Life is just fucking easy in that moment, in that experiment. And I know you've got all the commitment ceremony. And if it's going wrong, then I'm sure it's very much not an easy life. But if you're getting on, and they all seem sexually compatible as well, so they seem to be having a fucking great time. But it's okay, you were together before though, so what really went wrong? I know we heard from Paul and he said, it was the time of his life. In that time of his life, he just wasn't in the right headspace and whatever. Okay, maybe. I didn't really hear a good excuse for Jeff and Reese. They just seemed to drift apart. So these were people that found each other and decided, not that interested. But on the experiment, they're looking like some of the best couples. So it says a lot for the experiment. But I think there'll be something.
Yeah, there will be. There's got to be, haven't there? It's maths, Dave, at the end of the day. We'll have some fucking bollocks to talk about. But no, again, I think another good week, second week of just nonsense with all these absolute muppets. It's just, I want to see the commitments that are now. I want to see something from like John and Alexandra and that. not just Alexandra, getting in the whips out and everything and telling them to go and do this when she's at the apartment. I want to see some proper, but I just want to see something. I want to see proper, I want to see as you would say, Dave, the drama. I want to see some drama this week. You know what I mean? So I want to see it kick off really this week. So I know at some point next week we're going to get the flat swap thing potentially, aren't we? Last few years, so that'll probably happen.
Oh yeah, of course. And in my Homer Simpson ADHD type way, my mind was just wandering off because you forced me to do the Taken monologue yesterday. And I was thinking, I'm sure there must be and I was going to say Alf Garnett. What's the guy from Home and Away? Alf? I don't even know what it's saying.
Not Alf Roberts. That's fucking Coronation Street. Alf
and Elsa.
It's Alf Roberts. Yeah, I'm thinking of.
Is it Roberts?
No, Alf Roberts off Coronation Street. I think.
I know it's Harold Bishop. I know his surname. Maybe I have to get an Alf or a Harold Bishop monologue, and then we'll do an impression of
Alf Stewart, Dave. People screaming.
Stewart.
Bloody Drongo. Now he does actually
Stone the Crows. It was
that was him.
Stewart.
That was him. Stone the Crows. That was him. I used to watch it up to last year. Sam just went, I'm not watching it anymore. I haven't watched it from the beginning. She still watches Neighbours, which is back on Prime.
I think I was in short trousers when I finished watching it, but yeah. We'll do that maybe next week. Probably not. Maybe certainly on.
Anyway, thank you, mate, for this week. And thank you to everyone who tunes in and everyone who's listening and everyone over on Facebook. We really appreciate it. If you do want to support us, get over to patreon.com/CD Realitycast. If you want to email us, Chris and Dave's, no, that's the Facebook. Well done, Chris. If you want to email us, cdrealitycast@gmail.com. If you do want to go over to Facebook, Chris and Dave's Reality TV Cast, come and get over there. We're just about 3 or 4 shy of 800 friends over there, Dave. So if you want to come and join us on Facebook, we do appreciate it. I said the race to 1,000 was on, Dave, a couple of series ago. It's petered off a little bit, but that's back now for 2025. That's the target. Let's get to 1,000 people on the Facebook page. But if you, as I say, you want to support us, patreon.com/CD Realitycast. So today's roll call of honor, and in fact, Dave, actually, I'm all over the place here, but a massive thank you and a big welcome to Darren as well, who's our newest Patreon. So thank you, Darren, for joining us on Patreon, supporting the podcast. I'm hoping you're enjoying what me and Dave are saying and talking about with the show. So we do appreciate your support, mate. So thank you so much. So the roll call of honor, a big thank you to Darren, Anna, Tilly, Marcy, Stacey, Sinead, Kathleen, Sims, Nick, Danielle, Kim, Amanda, Larissa, Helen, Nicholas, Julian, Keith, Helen, Chloe, Joanna, Libby, Susan, Laurie, Lucky Lou, Lauren, and Kent Gustafson. That is the worst roll call of honor I've ever done. I do apologise, everybody. That is a terrible. I think I got Lauren and Lucky Lou Green mixed up, Dave, and it's become a Lolo Green. Yeah, so I do apologise. Yeah, that one as well. But thank you, mate. Again, great episode, and I can't wait for next week, even if they are a bunch of bellends. And just to clarify, Tim is still the bellend of the week, Dave. So he still gets that award.
Yeah, absolutely is. But thank you very much, mate. It's always good to dissect it all with you. And I can't wait. Commitment ceremony, bit of nonsense, and then another dinner party for next week. So can't bloody wait. So thank you to all our listeners. Thanks to all our supporters, and we'll speak to you next time.
And I'm not going to say my usual line because there's a football game on in about an hour, and I'm just simply going to say, away the lads. Let's go, Newcastle. See you next time.
Bye.
Bye.